Have you ever stopped to question where your knowledge comes from? Do you rely solely on a single source for information, or do you seek out diverse perspectives? Today, we delve into the wisdom of Thomas Aquinas, a prominent philosopher and theologian who warned against the perils of relying on a single source of knowledge. Aquinas believed that true understanding stems from exploring multiple viewpoints and challenging our own preconceived notions. He argued that limiting ourselves to a single source can lead to intellectual stagnation and a distorted perception of reality. Join us as we explore the dangers of single-source knowledge and discover why cultivating a well-rounded perspective is crucial for intellectual growth and a deeper understanding of the world around us. Imagine relying solely on a single news channel for all your information. You might be inclined to believe that their perspective is the only truth. However, by accessing news from various sources, you gain a more comprehensive understanding of events. Each source brings its own biases, interpretations, and limitations. By exposing ourselves to a diversity of sources, we can identify these biases and form our own informed opinion. Just as a single ingredient cannot create a flavorful dish, a single source of knowledge cannot nourish our intellect. Think of it like building a puzzle. Each piece, representing a different source of knowledge, contributes to the bigger picture. Without all the pieces, our understanding remains incomplete. Diverse sources challenge our assumptions and push us to think critically. They introduce us to new ideas, perspectives, and interpretations that we might have otherwise missed. This intellectual cross-training strengthens our ability to analyze information objectively. Moreover, relying on diverse sources helps us develop intellectual humility. We become aware of the vastness of knowledge and the limitations of our own understanding. This humility fosters a lifelong love of learning and a willingness to engage with different viewpoints. Whether it's reading books from various authors, engaging in discussions with people from different backgrounds, or exploring different academic disciplines, embracing diverse sources of knowledge is essential for intellectual growth. By exposing ourselves to a multitude of perspectives, we broaden our horizons, challenge our assumptions, and develop a more nuanced understanding of the world. Remember, knowledge is not about memorizing facts from a single source, but about cultivating intellectual curiosity and seeking wisdom from a variety of perspectives. So, the next time you encounter a new piece of information, don't just accept it at face value. Seek out different sources, challenge your own biases, and embrace the richness that comes from a diversity of knowledge. Imagine a world where everyone exclusively read one newspaper, watched one news channel, and listened to one radio station. This uniformity of information flow would create a stagnant intellectual environment. Relying solely on a single source of knowledge can lead to intellectual stagnation, a state where our minds become resistant to new ideas and perspectives. This stagnation can hinder our ability to think critically, solve problems creatively, and adapt to a changing world. When we limit ourselves to a single source, we become accustomed to a particular way of thinking and interpreting information. This can create a sort of intellectual echo chamber, where our existing beliefs are constantly reinforced without being challenged or refined. Over time, this lack of intellectual stimulation can lead to a decline in our critical thinking skills. We may become less likely to question information, consider alternative viewpoints, or think independently. Furthermore, intellectual stagnation can stifle creativity and innovation. When we are only exposed to a narrow range of ideas, it becomes more difficult to think outside the box and come up with novel solutions to problems. In a rapidly changing world, adaptability is crucial for success. However, intellectual stagnation can make us resistant to change. We may cling to outdated ideas and ways of thinking even when they're no longer relevant or effective. To avoid the pitfalls of intellectual stagnation, it is essential to cultivate a habit of seeking out diverse sources of knowledge. By exposing ourselves to a variety of perspectives, we challenge our assumptions, stimulate our minds, and foster intellectual growth. Remember, a stagnant mind is like a stagnant pond. It becomes a breeding ground for narrow-mindedness and intellectual decay. Embrace the diversity of knowledge and keep your mind flowing with fresh ideas and perspectives. Chapter 3. The Single Lens Analogy. Imagine looking at the world through a single lens. You might see some things clearly, but your vision would be limited. You would miss the nuances, the details, and the broader context. Relying on a single source of knowledge is like viewing the world through a single lens. It provides a limited and potentially distorted perspective, preventing us from seeing the full picture. Just as a photographer uses different lenses to capture different perspectives and details, we need to utilize diverse sources of knowledge to gain a more comprehensive understanding of the world. A single lens might highlight certain aspects while obscuring others. It might emphasize a particular narrative or viewpoint while neglecting alternative interpretations. By relying solely on this single lens, we risk developing a skewed and incomplete understanding of reality. We might miss crucial information, misinterpret events, and make decisions based on a limited perspective. To overcome the limitations of the single lens, we must embrace a multifaceted approach to knowledge acquisition. We need to seek out different lenses, each offering a unique perspective and adding depth to our understanding. By viewing the world through multiple lenses, we gain a richer, more nuanced, and ultimately more accurate understanding of the complexities that surround us. So, the next time you encounter a new piece of information, ask yourself, what other lenses might I be missing? What other perspectives could shed light on this issue? Remember, a single lens might provide a clear view, but it's the combination of multiple lenses that reveals the true beauty and complexity of the world. Chapter 4. Historical examples. History is replete with examples of how relying on single-source knowledge has led to errors in judgment, societal biases, and even catastrophic consequences. Consider the geocentric model of the universe, which placed Earth at the center. For centuries, this view, primarily based on religious texts and limited astronomical observations, dominated scientific thought. It wasn't until Nicholas Copernicus challenged this single-source knowledge with his heliocentric model, proposing that the Earth revolves around the Sun, that our understanding of the cosmos began to expand. Another striking example is the devastating impact of the European arrival in the Americas. Fueled by ethnocentric beliefs and a single-minded pursuit of wealth, colonizers inflicted immense suffering upon indigenous populations. Their narrow perspective, shaped by limited sources and ingrained prejudices, blinded them to the humanity and rich cultures of the people they encountered. These historical examples serve as stark reminders of the dangers of relying on single-source knowledge. They highlight the importance of questioning assumptions, seeking diverse perspectives, and challenging the status quo. By learning from the mistakes of the past, we can strive to create a more informed, just, and equitable future where knowledge is valued for its diversity and its power to broaden our understanding. Let us remember that history is not merely a collection of facts, but a tapestry woven from multiple perspectives and interpretations. By embracing this multifaceted view, we can gain valuable insights and avoid repeating the errors of the past. Chapter 5. A well-rounded perspective. Cultivating a well-rounded perspective is like building a strong immune system for our minds. It equips us with the critical thinking skills and intellectual flexibility to navigate the complexities of the world. When we expose ourselves to diverse sources of knowledge, we develop a more nuanced and comprehensive understanding of issues. We learn to appreciate different viewpoints, even if we don't necessarily agree with them. This intellectual humility is essential for fostering meaningful dialogue and finding common ground in a world often divided by differing opinions. Moreover, a well-rounded perspective enhances our problem-solving abilities. By considering multiple angles and drawing upon a broader range of knowledge, we are better equipped to identify creative and effective solutions. In an increasingly interconnected world where information is readily available from countless sources, it's more important than ever to cultivate a discerning and well-rounded perspective. Don't limit yourself to a single echo chamber of information. Seek out diverse voices, challenge your own biases, and embrace the richness that comes from a multitude of perspectives. Remember, a well-rounded perspective is not about absorbing every piece of information we encounter, but about developing the critical thinking skills to evaluate information, synthesize different viewpoints, and form our own informed opinions. By embracing the diversity of knowledge, we empower ourselves to become more informed, compassionate, and engaged citizens of the world. Outro, broaden your horizons. As we've explored, the dangers of single-source knowledge are significant. By heeding the wisdom of Thomas Aquinas and embracing diverse perspectives, we unlock a world of intellectual growth and deeper understanding. Remember to question your sources, challenge your assumptions, and cultivate a thirst for knowledge that extends beyond the confines of a single lens. Subscribe to the Morality Matters YouTube channel for more insights on living a more thoughtful and fulfilling life.